On the 6-month anniversary of the war, we wanted to shine a spotlight on a humanitarian hero once again. We're talking about Sally Becker. She has worked to rescue children from conflict zones since the early 90s and has been helping people in Ukraine since the start of the war. So far, she has helped rescue more than 200 women and children across the war-torn country. Her organization, Save a Child, works to rescue victims of war from the conflict zone and reunite kidnapped children with their families, and also help sick and injured children in areas still under attack. We talked with her at the beginning of this war, and we bring Sally back to talk about her mission once again. Sally, so great to see you. Your latest mission now, helping more than 150 people escape Ukraine to Poland before eventually getting to the UK. Tell us about the children that you've been able to work with. What was that process like, and how are they doing right now?
Well, when I first met them, they had dark shadows under their eyes because they'd been in basements. And Dnipro was under constant air raid sirens. You know, they were just going night and day. And so they couldn't go out into the street, they couldn't play. And as a result, they just looked ill. And we had there were 91 on the train. I was given a train, 3 train carriages actually, by the Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine to help me take out these women and children. And a lot of them were orphans. And we had to travel for 22 hours with the blackout blinds closed because of the train being targeted by Russian forces. And so we spent quite a bit of the time in pitch darkness, couldn't see our hands in front of our faces. And it was a very strange, surreal experience with all these kids. And then when we reached Lviv, we were housed in an orphanage for a couple of nights while we were joined by other families who were coming from occupied zones, from front lines, people who had lost their homes and everything. I mean, they came with nothing, basically, to this orphanage, and then we put them onto coaches. And that's when, really, for me, the battle began, because I had to try and convince the British authorities, the British government, to allow visas for them to come to the UK. I had 164 of them. And previously, on the previous mission, when we brought out 54 kids and their parents and guardians, there was no problem. The visas were issued within days. It was amazing. And then suddenly it was the complete opposite. No visas, no group visas. I was allowed to bring them through Homes for Ukraine, I was told, but of course, sponsors, private sponsors in Britain can't house more than 1 or 2. So it was impossible because these groups were 9, 10, 5, 7. So we had to wait, and they had to go into this refugee camp for weeks on end, and it was awful. We were doing everything we could to support them, buying things like fruit and vegetables because the kids were getting so sick. They got salmonella, they got bitten by bed bugs, they got COVID, and, you know, it was pretty bad. But finally we did it, and on Friday night we brought 40 of them into the UK. Another 24 are coming over the next week or 2. Some of them actually returned to Ukraine, not many, but some, and it broke my heart because there was a pastor, for example, with 9 kids, and he couldn't cope with them being in the refugee camp anymore. He was so worried. So he took them back, but they know that if they change their minds, we're here to help. And some decided to remain in Poland, but those that have come here, they're now settling in Wales and in different parts of England, and they're so happy. I can't tell you how happy they are.
Well, it makes our heart happy, too. And, you know, we talk about the families, but you've also mentioned the kids. And unfortunately, there have been so many kids that have been left orphaned. They don't have guardians. They don't have parents. They've lost, you know, their home and their structure. What happens to those kids, Sally? What are you able to do for those kids who need a loving home?
So, first of all, the Ukrainian authorities want to keep the children together. They want to bring them back, those that have left Ukraine. I had to sign all kinds of documentation to say that once the war is over, once it's safe, their families would return, the children would return, the orphans would return. They want them to come home one day. And they're trying to get rid of the idea of institutions. They're trying to learn from other countries, particularly the UK, where we don't have institutions like orphanages anymore. They want to learn, and that's why they were giving them into individual families in the last years. And those are the children and guardians that I was moving out of there. But I'd like to see all the children, every single person under the age of 18, out of that country right now. And then the soldiers can continue to fight and defend their land, but they'll know that their wives and their children are safe. And those women that are fighting, they'll know that their children are safe. The women and the men who are doctors, who are trying to treat people but worrying about the kids at home. It's so important. If only the international community would open up their doors. They did at the beginning, but slowly borders are closing. Slowly policy is changing. Britain changed its policy within 3 weeks of me being there, bringing out the first group, and then, now it's all so different.
Well, we hear your rally cry, and that is to open up doors, bring these families in and love on them. And you are doing that every day. Sally Becker, thank you so much. You are truly our humanitarian hero. And if you want to learn more about what Sally is doing, you can check out her website, saveachild.uk. Sally, thank you.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.